Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm out here practicing some range estimating, and if you look at that yellow ship over there, real fast look at it and you think it might be about 300 yards out, but then when you zero in on what appear to be the doors or the windows, you realize that thing's a lot further out. Okay, so I estimated that it was at about 1,000 yards, and it ended up being at about 1,500 yards from my position. Okay, so really easy for large things to throw off your sense of distance. But anyway, that's not the thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today. What I wanted to talk to you guys about is basically range estimating with your pinky finger. So one of the things that I figured out is from here to that brick house way out over there, it is exactly 100 yards. So as I hold my pinky finger out like this and basically put it over the windows of the house, it's basically the position of the camera is going to be a little bit distorted. But as I hold this over here over the windows of the house, at 100 yards, the height of those windows, which is about 6 foot, that's pretty standard for the windows in this area. Most windows, brick to brick, are about 6 foot. So that covers up the entire thickness of my pinky, which happens to be the same as a 65 MOA circle. Okay, so at 100 yards, if you had, basically if you're sizing up a man with a 65 MOA circle, he's going to stand, feet at the bottom of your circle, head at the top of the circle. Okay, so here at 100 yards, looking at a window that I know to be about 6 foot tall, holding my pinky out like this, and it's going to be hard for me to line it up for the camera. It is exactly the thickness of my pinky finger, so that I know that the thickness of my pinky here is 65 MOA, which is awesome, right? And remember, I got 5 fingers, so if I had like thicker fingers or thinner fingers, I could also use one of my other fingers. I also had the option maybe of turning it to the side if I needed to. But now that I know that the thickness over here is 65 MOA, let me see, if I turn it to the side, it's about the same. So the thickness of my finger is about the same all around, but I'm just going to hold it like that. That seems to work. So knowing that this is now 65 MOA, I can look at different buildings down there, and basically as I have tested out, and I've also, I have a rangefinder with me here today, so I've been verifying this. So at 200 yards, I have verified that those windows are about half the thickness of my pinky. At 300 yards, it's going to be a little bit less than half the thickness. At 400 yards, it ends up being about a quarter of the thickness of my pinky, and at 500 yards, it's tiny. Okay, so it's really easy to know when something is at 100 yards, 200 yards, 400 yards, right? Because I can easily tell what a quarter of the thickness of my pinky is here, right? So the 300 yards is not so easy to tell, right? But the 400 yards is. So I can tell 200 yards, I can tell 400 yards, and I can kind of guesstimate in between. And then if I know what 400 yards is, I can kind of guesstimate where 500 yards would be. So really interesting. Hope you guys get a chance to, get out and try this out. Fun little exercise. Unfortunately, I'm stuck in the city because of some family business that I've been taking care of. So basically, I'm doing as much like gun-related training as I possibly can here in Brooklyn. Right, and if you look over there through those trees, that's Manhattan over there. Across over there is Staten Island. So yeah, I'm doing the best that I can. Oh, we got a big ship over here. Let's take a quick look at it. It looks like it's gigantic, right? See this big ship coming through over here. So at first glance, you think that thing is, wow, that thing's got to be like, I don't know, 200 yards out. But then when I zero into the windows, right, I see that they're tiny. They're tiny. So that thing's got to be, basically when we say, so this thing's so long that obviously the distance at the bow is going to be very different from the stern. But from that position over there, I'm going to guess that is about 500 yards. So let me put the magnifier on it. Let me see where we're at. Wow, I was really off. It's 1,300 yards, man. I was really off. Yeah, I should have. Yeah, those windows are tiny now I think of it. It looked so. Here's the deal, man. Those windows looked so small that I kind of guessed that, hey, you know what? Those must be like tiny little like portal windows, maybe like 6-inch windows or something. And that's why I kind of guesstimated that it was a lot closer than it actually is. But yeah, that thing's at 1,300 yards over there. I mean, it looks like completely threw me off. So I guess the moral of this story is go with your initial gut instinct. All right, so yeah, gonna get the rangefinder on that again. Yeah, right now it's at 1,200 yards. Yeah, now that it's a little bit closer, I can kind of see where the doors would be, and yeah, the doors are like really small on it. So despite the fact that that thing is humongous from my position over here, right? It's like it's a lot further away than I think it is. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will talk to you all soon. Hey, I'm gonna add one more thing on that cargo ship. I should have picked up on this earlier, but when I look at that, right, and if you look at the shipping containers that are on it, right, so we know that the shipping containers are usually at least 7-8 feet tall. So if I had just held out my finger like this, and tried to, because I know that my finger now is 65 MOA, my pinky finger is 65 MOA. If I had held out my finger like this, I would have instantly recognized that that thing has to be way more than the 300-400 yards, the 500 yards that I estimated it, right? Because that thing is 8 foot. I know how big a man's going to be at that distance. So yeah, so I had 2 ways of range estimating on this, and I totally dropped the ball again. So this is part of me practicing and learning, right? So I'm not going to do everything perfect, you got to get out here and do it. And I've been doing this a lot. I posted lots of videos, and yet here I am. I still made a mistake. So first I should have went to the windows. I should have recognized that the windows. I mean, I kind of knew that they would look tiny, but I said, hey, maybe those were like small portals compared to regular 6-foot windows. But then I should have went to the cargo to the containers on the ship. Containers are at least 8 foot tall. If I held out my finger like this and sized it up on my 65 MOA pinky, I would have known that that's like way out there. So yeah, so that's another way you can range estimate. You can range estimate off of the shipping containers. Talk to y'all soon.